In a land where traditions run deep, where the soil holds the secrets of generations, and where dreams are sown alongside seeds, a new generation emerges. Welcome to Young Seeds. Get ready to embark on a journey like no other as we shine a spotlight on the dynamic and inspiring young farmers in the heartland of Zimbabwe.
I want to do it because plants will die, plants will get infected by diseases.
I tried to do mixed farming, that is also putting tomatoes. I have half a hectare of tomatoes.
Every 40 days it has to be giving birth.
Produce a good quality fruit size. Calves are kept in different pens, basically so that they don't spread diseases to each other.
My name is Techtastic. I'm a rabbit farmer.
These young farmers are revolutionizing traditional practices, embracing technology, and finding sustainable solutions that will shape the future of agriculture. So, let's get our hands dirty.
Harare, tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Good evening, your time is 8 p.m. and you're watching News Plus right here on ZTN Prime. Now we're about to give you the headlines tonight. Mozambican President Daniel Chapo has heaped praise on the Zimbabwean International Trade Fair, saying the platform is also critical in putting countries in the region on the map. Crackdown on unregulated medicine use in food production. Chimombe Mpofu withdraw bail application. Simba Moors clash headline weekend fixtures. And now for our stories in greater detail. Mozambican President Daniel Chapo has heaped praise on the Zimbabwean International Trade Fair, saying the platform is also critical in putting countries in the region on the map. President Chapo was speaking in Bulawayo this Friday, where he officiated at the country premier trade fair.
Mozambican President Daniel Chapo has reiterated the need to increase trade and deepen economic ties between his country and Zimbabwe. Speaking at the 65th Zimbabwe International Trade Fair in Bulawayo this Friday, where he was the guest of honor, President Chapo expressed satisfaction with the innovations exhibited, which are key in unlocking economic growth. He said Zimbabwe and Mozambique must continue growing their economic relations, strengthen political relations, and above all increase trade between the two countries and the region, with the Beira corridor and pipeline from the Beira port to Zimbabwe being one of the key infrastructures linking the two nations.
It is the indisputable fact that the cooperation with the Republic of Zimbabwe is extremely significant to Mozambique.
Não apenas pela partilha de fronteiras comuns,
not only because we share common borders,
mas pelos profundos laços históricos de convivência política,
but because of the very deep historical ties of political existence,
econômica e cultural,
also economic and cultural ties,
que remontam aos tempos da luta de libertação nacional,
which date back to the times of our liberation struggle,
que ao longo de décadas
and throughout decades
foram se traduzindo em apoio ativo e mútuo,
have translated into active and mutual support
na defesa e consolidação
in the defense and consolidation
das nossas soberanias,
of our sovereignty
e se cristalizou na estreita colaboração no âmbito bilateral, regional e continental.
and which has solidified in a strict cooperation in the bilateral, regional and continental frameworks.
Por isso, dá para dizer, a luta continua.
Therefore, I dare to say, a luta continua, the struggle continues.
The Mozambican president said the railway and the roads that link the two nations must be used to grow the economies of both countries and to improve the lives of citizens in sustainable ways. He said officially opening the ZITF was an honor which proved the close diplomatic ties that Zimbabwe and Mozambique share.
Sirvo-me desta oportunidade
I seize this opportunity
para, em nome do governo da República de Moçambique
for, on behalf of the government of the Republic of Mozambique
e do povo moçambicano
and indeed of the Mozambican people,
e do meu próprio nome,
and on my own behalf,
endereçar os agradecimentos ao governo da República do Zimbábue,
to address my profound thanks to the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe,
liderado pelo presidente Mnangagwa,
led by the Excellency President Mnangagwa,
pelo convite formulado
for the invitation extended to me
para participar na qualidade de convidado de honra
to attend as a guest of honor
e proceder à inauguração oficial desta prestigiada
and officially open this prestigious
65ª edição da Feira Internacional do Zimbábue.
65th edition of the Zimbabwe International Fair.
He emphasized that the two nations achieved their first challenge, which was political freedom, and it was time they unite towards economic emancipation. President Chapo said the ZITF hosted global countries and not only showcased what Zimbabwe can offer, but was critical for other Southern African nations which can benefit from the connections made at the fair.
This event
acolhe de cerca dos líderes mundiais de negócios
welcomes global business leaders
e empresas que representam a nata do tecido econômico da República do Zimbábue
and companies that represent the very best of economic fabric of Zimbabwe
e de vários países da região,
and the various countries of the region,
do continente e do mundo,
the continent and the world,
para expor os avanços tecnológicos da ponta da indústria,
to show state-of-the-art technological advances in industry,
agricultura
agriculture,
e serviços de valor agregado,
and added value services,
com ênfase e foco na promoção de robustez e competitividade econômica na nossa região.
with the focus in promoting economic robustness and competitiveness.
The president said both countries must use their rich shared history to use it as a foundation to map the way forward for shared sustainable industrial and economic growth. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Bulawayo.
And still on the ZITF, the European Union has reaffirmed its commitment to deepen relations with Zimbabwe in different sectors, focusing on increased investment and expanded market access. The European Union is showcasing at the ongoing Zimbabwe International Trade Fair in Bulawayo.
As global trade faces rising barriers, the EU is offering Zimbabwean exporters duty-free access to European markets, a significant opportunity for local producers looking to scale their exports. With the EU already importing over 40% of Zimbabwe's horticultural exports, this trade relationship is not only established, it's growing. In return, machinery forms the bulk of imports from Europe into Zimbabwe.
The European Union is the biggest trading bloc in the world. It's 27 countries, and Zimbabwe has a free trade agreement in times where everybody is talking about tariffs and duties. We offer to any Zimbabwean company duty and tariff-free export of any product to the EU. While Zimbabwe does not necessarily offer that to us, it's more limited, so we have a trade deficit.
The EU has also announced a notable rise in foreign direct investment into the country, reinforcing its position as Zimbabwe's fourth largest trading partner, with annual trade volumes exceeding 700 million euros.
We have companies namely in the field of construction, and we construct roads, good roads, take note please, and also renewable energies, and some of those companies are in here in the region, namely in Zambia and Malawi, and of course in Angola and Mozambique, and we'll be ready to come here. But I'm quite impressed with this initiative. Sincere congratulations, and we hope we can perform better with EU help.
Beyond trade, the EU is investing in private sector development, supporting Zimbabwean businesses through targeted initiatives aimed at fostering innovation, sustainability, and growth.
Using the motto for this edition of the fair, industrialization, is very timely because in the world generally a lot of people are looking how to re-industrialize their own continents, their own countries. European Union is also on this path to make a re-industrialization.
Looking ahead, the first ever EU-Zimbabwe Business Forum is scheduled for May in Harare. The event is expected to promote joint ventures and partnerships between European and Zimbabwean companies across key sectors of the economy.
Jobs von Kirschmann just said, on the occasion of this business forum, that is the first one of its kind indeed taking place in Harare, France will organize a special event related to promotion of the startups and the spirit of entrepreneurship in Zimbabwe. This is called Digital Africa.
With renewed investment, growing trade volumes, and a focus on joint partnerships, the EU says it's not trading with Zimbabwe, it's building with it. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma at the ZITF in Bulawayo.
Retired Central Intelligence Organization Director Walter Basopo has been conferred national hero status. Basopo died on Tuesday in South Africa. And ZANU-PF Secretary for Security Lovemore Matuke, who is also the Minister of State Security, announced the national hero status this evening. He said President Mnangagwa, who is also the party's first secretary, has declared Basopo a national hero status. Now moving on to another story, the country's Medicine Control Authority has launched a border control initiative to combat the unregulated use and sale of genuine and counterfeit medicines. The move comes amid concerns from the Food and Agriculture Organization and the Ministry of Agriculture over the increasing use and abuse of antibiotics and other chemicals in livestock and food production. Now this practice poses health risks to consumers and threatens the country's agricultural exports, potentially leading to an international ban if not addressed.
That spoke to the presence of counterfeits. We are in the process of using the handheld devices. We are buying medicines across the country using the handheld devices and detecting counterfeit medicines or otherwise falsified medicines and substandard medicines. The results so far is shocking, and this is a project that we are implementing with the multi-partner fund, which include FAO, it also includes WHO, and also includes the World Organization for Animals and UNEP. So they came together and funded the programs. Various programs that include vaccine production in animal health and also substandard and falsified medicine.
The Ministry of Health has highlighted the importance of a collaborative approach to protect the agricultural sector and the economy through best practices in food production. This was stated during the launch of the One Health Antimicrobials Resistance National Action Plan, themed Tackling Antimicrobial Resistance, Safeguarding Health Trade and Industrial Growth. The initiative aims to promote the safe use of antimicrobials in crops and ensure a healthy and sustainable agricultural industry.
First, the MRA endangers not only human health but also the sustainability of our industries, especially agriculture, food production, and pharmaceuticals. The overuse and misuse of antimicrobials in livestock leads to resistant microbes that can travel through the food chain and harm human health. It is therefore essential that all industry players adopt responsible science-based practices in line with our National Action Plan practice that preserve public health without compromising food safety or economic progress.
And shortly we'll give you an update on a new HIV vaccine research that's set to begin next month.
All right. Are the investors here?
Yes, boss, all set.
Do you have everything we need for the meeting?
Yes, everything's here, locked and loaded. You fix it.
Relax, boss. I've got it backed up right here.
What are we going to do now? Fired.
It's not the coffee, it's your data backup strategy. Get secure, reliable backup and data storage with Dandim Tande Cloud, because right here isn't always safe.
It's an experience and a half.
What are we looking at?
Thank you guys for joining us on this unforgettable night.
Paw Patrol is on a roll.
It's Max Verstappen in the lead. The megastar is here.
Absolutely sensational.
Let's go!
It was such a success.
The rest is history.
Get unbelievable entertainment that is unbelievably easy to own. Get and stay connected to DSTV.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
You are still watching News Plus this Friday evening with me, Wadzanai Sansole. Now, still on our top stories, a clinical research study to assess the safety and efficacy of a new HIV vaccine is set to begin in Zimbabwe next month. The study will be coordinated across 3 sites, that is Mutala in Zimbabwe, the Desmond Tutu Health Foundation in Cape Town, and the Africa Health Research Institute in Durban, South Africa. This vaccine was developed with support from the Gates Foundation and other partners. The trials will enroll 120 participants who are HIV negative and between the ages of 15 to 50. And these initial trials, lasting 18 months, are testing safety of the vaccine, not ability to actually prevent HIV infection. This will be studied in future phases. Now, to bring more clarity on the subject matter and what this development means for Zimbabwe, we have public health analyst Michael Gwarisa on the line. Good evening, Michael. Good to have you here on News Plus. What potential impact could a successful HIV vaccine have on public health in Zimbabwe?
I think having a vaccine, successfully having an HIV vaccine would actually be a game changer for Zimbabwe, especially for the public health in Zimbabwe. So I think it would help in reducing heavily new HIV infections, especially amongst vulnerable groups such as young people, women, and other key populations. Because at the moment, the only options that are there is, the likes of PrEP, injectable PrEP, and oral PrEP, and other options. But having a vaccine, I think this could actually ease the long-term financial and logistical burden on the healthcare system that is associated with, procuring the likes of PrEP, the likes of condoms in the face of dwindling donor support, where financing for those products is actually on the decline. It would also reduce stigma that is associated with HIV. Because you look at other products that are on the market, for example, PrEP, condoms, etc. Those products, they are good, but there's a lot of stigma that comes around it. Because once someone starts taking PrEP, some might even mistake it for someone who's taking antiretroviral therapy. So there's stigma that is actually associated with it. So in essence, having a vaccine would actually shift HIV from being a constant public health emergency to a preventable condition, just like any other disease, like the polios, what else? All the disease that have vaccines to prevent them. So it will be a major win for public health in Zimbabwe.
So tell me, Michael, how might this vaccine actually affect the current HIV prevention landscape, including antiretroviral therapy and pre-exposure prophylaxis?
I think the vaccine would complement and not replace existing prevention tools like PrEP and ARVs or even condoms. In the short term, I think would still rely on ARVs and PrEP while the vaccine rolls out. And over time, maybe the vaccine could reduce dependence on lifelong ARV treatment and daily PrEP, especially for those high-risk groups that I mentioned earlier on. I think also it would also allow us as a nation to focus more resources on reaching those who are already living with HIV and improving their care, rather than putting resources on other products such as PrEP and condoms that are actually seriously capital intensive. They need a lot of money to roll out these products. So yeah, the vaccine would be another powerful tool in our prevention toolbox, and it as it creates a more comprehensive and a long-lasting approach to ending HIV.
Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate your time. That was Michael Guarisa, a public health analyst, sharing his insight on the HIV vaccine research. Now, South African police have arrested 6 men in Limpopo province as the war of cigarette smuggling between the neighboring country and Zimbabwe continues. The gang that was armed with a pistol was busted in the Hoedspruit area on Thursday while transporting contraband of cigarettes worth 390,000 rand in 2 vehicles. Among those arrested were 5 Zimbabweans and a South African man. And Limpopo police spokesperson Colonel Malesela Ledwaba said the suspects had been traveling in a Toyota Dana truck and a Toyota Hilux GD6 pickup.
A total of 43 boxes of illicit cigarettes were confiscated. Both vehicles used in the operation were seized and will be forfeited to the state as they were instrumental in the commission of crime. Commenting on the operation, the acting Provincial Commissioner of Police in Limpopo, Major General Samuel Manala, praised the teamwork and swift response of all role players. The 6 suspects are scheduled to appear before Hoedspruit Magistrate Court on Tuesday, 29th April 2025, on charges of possession of illicit cigarettes and contravention of Immigration Act.
Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu have withdrawn their application for bail on changed circumstances in the presidential Goat Pass on scheme scandal. Their defense, Reginald Mutero and Tatenda Zishiri, told the court that the applicants feel that the application is not appropriate. This is after several applications which some described as delaying tactics to derail trial proceedings. And in their last application, they applied for a de novo, that is to restart trial, since the bench has now new assessors following the application to them. Now when News Trust returns, we'll give you more stories that are happening locally.
And unoona kana zvinhu zvakadayoka zvinobva zvatinewe fofa kudayo izvozvo final demand yandatumirwa nesitokadzo hanzi ndibhadhare chikwereti ndozvifambisa sei ndine urwere
wakachera iri yefinal demand unofanira kutobhadhara imba inotorwa
ndozvifambisa sei izvezvi kubhengi kunenge uchida unomirwa line pedzezvo kanzuro kuda umirwa line apa ndine urwere ndoita sei
kutsvuka bedzi asi wakasara kudai auzizive kuti akuchina zviya zvokunzi kwai kunomirirwa kuenda kumahofisi kuti unobhadhara kanzuro kanzuro yekuti unobhadhara izvozvi nemaplatforms akawanda ari paya through pay now unogona kubhadhara neEcoCash, One Money, FBC Online, CBZ Touch, kana kuti unogona kungoita iri bank transfer caps. Account yavo number ndakutoiziva nomusoro ndiyo yandoshandisa every month in caps 10036552211. Wapedza kudaro wakutoita kuindisa proof of payment pa email pa rtgs@hararicity.co.zw. zvoga izvo wakagara ipapo pauri ipapo kumba kwako unogona kutongobhadhara kanzuro hazvichamiri nguva unoenda kumaofisi.
chibva watouya ubva watondiitira
utongobhadhara online
zvichiri zvekubhadhara chikwereti kubva wati neni kwati
Stuck on you. Ooh, obsessed with you. I'm obsessed.
With Showmax, your favorite characters now follow you anywhere. Download it today and watch the best in local, international, and everything in between.
Harare. Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
As the 2025 tobacco marketing season gains momentum, the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board, TIMB, reports a notable increase in deliveries, a trend that is shaping market dynamics and putting downward pressure on prices. The average price per kilogram has dipped to $3.42 compared to $3.58 recorded during the same period last year. TIMB Public Affairs Officer Chelesani Tsarwe revealed that the season has already generated over 304 million United States dollars from tobacco sales.
The 2025 tobacco marketing season is in full swing with steady deliveries at both auction and contract floors. So far, the marketing process has been orderly, characterized by competitive pricing. As of April 2022, a total of 88.9 million kilograms of tobacco have been sold, generating just over 304 million United States dollars in revenue. The average price recorded as of the 22nd of April was $3.42 per kilogram, down from $3.58 per kilogram recorded during the same period last year. This could be attributed to the higher delivery volumes which have been received and lower demand.
Meanwhile, after a surge of cases in which tobacco farmers are losing their produce to robbers, police have implored farmers to transport their produce during the day. Speaking at a crime awareness campaign in Marondera recently, Mashonaland East Provincial Deputy Police Spokesperson Assistant Inspector Mishek Denere also warned tobacco farmers to desist from disclosing their earnings to strangers.
Tinokurudzira kuti fambai nemotikari dzakakodzera dzine zvinhu zvese zvakakwana dzakaongororwa neveVID kuitira kuti musaite dambudziko pakufamba, mota idzodzo dzisafe pamunofamba muchiuya nefodya, fodya yemurimi yosvika kuno yakakwana. Tokumbirazve varimi kuti fambai kwakachena. Fambai kwakachena, kune makoronyera anokwanisa kudisturba vanhu mukufamba kwenyu murwendo rwenyu rwokuuya nefodya kumafloors. Makoronyera iwayo zvaanozoita manje anokudisturbai momira. Pamunomira muchida kuona kuti chii, mosvika pakutorerwa mabhero enyu aake ochinja growers number. Zvakare tinotarisa kuti muri pano zvakacherechedza bhero rako negrowers number yapaitazve makoronyera ari kuchinja magrowers number achiisa pake, saka ukavarairwa rinotorwa. Maripotsi iwayo tiri kusangana nawo. Tokumbirazve kuti kana muchinge matora mari, hatikurudziri kuti mutore mari yese muchienda nayo kumba. Siisai mari mubhengi. Zvinobatsira izvo kuti munongozwa kuti mari inoswinya, unotanga kuita sewavaviwo nemari, vanhu vopedzisira voziva kuti ndingane mari. Matsotsi ipapo ndopaanowana mukana wokuuya kuzokutorera. Saka tinokurudzira kuti mari ngaigare mubhengi.
Now, these farmers have commended the awareness campaigns which are being held by the police around the country to protect farmers from robbers.
tiri kutendawo mapurisa edu muno maShonaland East Province nedzidziso yavauya nayo kwatiri isusu varimi maererano nekufamba kwatinoita nefodya. Dzidziso yatapiwa yekuti kana tichinge tichifamba nefodya sesu varimi, vamwe varimi vane tendency yekuda kufamba nemota manheru dzinenge dzisina zvinhu zvakakwana dzinozoita kuti vafamba neusiku vasangana nematambudziko akawanda. So mapurisa edu ari kutikurudzira kuti isusu ngatifambei kwakachena, tine mota dziri roadworthy kana kuti mota dzatinoti idzo dzakakodzera dzakatenderwa nemutemo kuti dzinge dzichifamba pamugwagwa. Chimwe chinhu futi chadadzidza ndechekuti tadzidziswa kuti kana dzinge dziri mari dzatinenge tatengesa nadzo fodya, ngatisadisclosei information kune vamwe watinenge tichifungira kuti varimi vatinenge tinawo mumaflows, vamwe vanenge vasiri varimi, dzimwe dzinenge dzitori mbavha.
That was a story on how the police are intensifying security for tobacco farmers. Now, the Beitbridge Rural District Council has completed engaging local stakeholders and drafting its master plan that will guide its expansion and service delivery in the next 15 years. The move is part of the local authorities' response to the full implementation of the call to action concept that was launched by President Mnangagwa recently. Beitbridge RDC Acting Chief Executive Officer Peter Ncube said they have since met a consultant, their staff members, councillors and local stakeholders to unpack their plans. Now we get our crime and court updates from Kimberly Chimbalanga.
A Harare man, Prince Ncube, is on the run after he allegedly killed his brother Pardon Ncube at Kwenyambira Shopping Center Mufakose over an undisclosed issue. Police have since launched a manhunt for the suspect, appealing for information that may lead to his arrest. Moving on, detectives in Kadoma have arrested one Tamari Shoko in connection with unlawful possession of 7 cops of dagger weighing 13 kilograms. The dagger is said to have been stashed in the luggage compartment of the bus that was intercepted at the Kadoma bus terminus. Meanwhile, one Shupikai Chivero from Chaiva village, Buhera, was arrested for unlawful cultivation of 138 plants of dagger. Ekwazana man has been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment after he was found in possession of crystal meth. Chinotenda Nyaoma approached the detectives who had posed as buyers and handed them a sachet of the illicit substance and was subsequently arrested. A body search was conducted and he was found with 4 sachets of crystal meth with a street value of 2,212 zig. In another case, a 48-year-old Harare man was sentenced to an effective 25 years imprisonment after he sexually abused his tenant's 13-year-old daughter. In Beitbridge, one Farai Magobo has been sentenced to an effective 7 years imprisonment for robbery. Magobo was part of a gang targeting and robbing businessmen at gunpoint. Initially, he was sentenced to 12 years when 5 years was suspended, leaving him with 7 years on condition that he pays restitution to the complainant. For ZTN Prime, I'm Kimberly Chimbalanga in Harare.
You are watching News Plus.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J. All right.
Put your seatbelt on.
We now give you updates from the world around us, and we start with a ceasefire deal. The Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda-backed M23 rebels have agreed to halt fighting in the east of the country until peace talks mediated by Qatar reach their conclusion. It is the latest truce since the rebels stepped up an offensive in eastern DR Congo, where authorities say 7,000 people have been killed since January. Both sides on Wednesday jointly announced to work towards peace, and last month, Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi and his Rwandan counterpart Paul Kagame also reaffirmed their commitment to an unconditional ceasefire. Now, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has said no matter how the international landscape may change, China will work with European countries and other parties to make concerted efforts in addressing the global challenge of climate change and jointly advance green and low-carbon development. The French government also said it hopes that China and the EU can build a united front on addressing climate change, which could make up for the damage caused by the US withdrawal from the Paris Agreement.
中方多次强调，应对气候变化不是别人要我们做，而是我们自己必须要做。这是中国可持续发展的内在要求，也是推动构建人类命运共同体的责任与担当。无论国际形势如何变幻，中方将同欧洲国家以及其他各方一道，坚定维护真正的多边主义，合力应对气候变化这一全球性挑战。 共同推进绿色低碳发展。
Meanwhile, China's permanent representative to the United Nations, Fu Kong, has condemned the United States' accusations against China and its bullying acts at a Security Council meeting. Fu reiterated China's principles and positions on multilateral trade, the South China Sea issue, and the Taiwan issue.
当前，在中国和东盟国家共同努力下，南海局势保持着总体稳定。 中方一贯坚持同有关当事国在尊重历史事实和国际法的基础上，通过对话协商妥善处理涉海分歧。美国不是联合国海洋公约的成员国，但它经常却以公约法官的身份自居，对他国指手画脚、横加干涉。 美方还频繁派大规模先进舰机到南海搞军事侦察演习，非法闯入中国领空和领海及岛礁附近的海空域。究竟是谁在南海搞胁迫和霸凌？又是谁在威胁航海自由与安全？真相不言自明。
Recent U.S. airstrikes and sanctions against Yemen have dramatically worsened the country's humanitarian crisis, causing widespread civilian devastation and economic restrictions, accelerating poverty nationwide. The U.S. airstrikes in Yemen have targeted numerous residential areas, and survivors have described how these attacks have not only caused damage to their homes, but also have completely devastated their lives.
من الصواريخ 2 صواريخ يعني جن فجأة والناس آمنين في منازلهم وخرجنا بنشوف الذي حصل وإن قد في صار انتهت تماما من نساء وأطفال.
European Union pledges support for Zim's transport, renewable energy sectors. That story right ahead.
Pardon? Look up. Whoa! Okay. Okay. I'm Ollie J, your host and captain for this technological voyage.
They say that curiosity killed the cat. Well, we say curiosity makes you swipe.
Okay, there's a real big one. Oh, okay.
Okay, take the elevator.
Okay, that one came out of
look up. From some Techtastic adventures to some out-of-this-world Zimbabwean inventions to the scientifically mind-boggling, we show it all.
What we're looking at is 2 charging ports to charge the vehicle.
And things get electric. Catch Swipe right here on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294.
In a land where traditions run deep, where the soil holds the secrets of generations, and where dreams are sown alongside seeds, a new generation emerges. Welcome to Young Seeds. Get ready to embark on a journey like no other as we shine a spotlight on the dynamic and inspiring young farmers in the heartland of Zimbabwe.
I want to do it because plants will die, plants will get infected by diseases.
I tried to do mixed farming, that is also putting tomatoes. I have half a hectare of tomatoes.
Every 40 days, it has to be giving birth. Produce a good quality fruit size. Actually, calves are kept in different pens, basically so that they don't spread diseases to each other.
My name is Tarios Gauke. I'm a rabbit farmer.
These young farmers are revolutionizing traditional practices, embracing technology, and finding sustainable solutions that will shape the future of agriculture. So, let's get our hands dirty.
The European Union is significantly enhancing its strategic partnerships across Southern Africa, with a particular focus on Zimbabwe and its neighboring countries. This initiative is part of efforts to support regional integration and economic development by investing in critical infrastructure and key productive sectors.
And for Zimbabwe, we have launched a study to define the best railway to connect South Africa to Zambia. In Namibia, we have invested in the strategic raw materials value chain. So we have entered into a partnership for critical raw materials, including lithium and rare earth elements. These are elements which are essential for green transition, particularly the production of batteries. And Namibia's mining sector contributes approximately 12.5% to its GDP. But ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, we are just partners. We are enablers and partners to the governments who are in charge of their country. We can build roads and railways and generate energy and offer financing. But at the end, it's the government creating the fertile environment, and it's the private sector that creates sustainable growth and jobs.
The EU is collaborating with Zimbabwe across a wide range of sectors, including education, renewable energy, and sustainable development. This partnership aims to support inclusive growth, enhance human capital, and promote green energy solutions that contribute to the country's long-term resilience and prosperity.
We as partners, we can contribute, and we do that through Global Gateway. We do it in green energy. We support Africa's transition, green transition with investments in renewable energy, power transmission, and sustainable fuels. We support transport corridors, improving regional integration through roads, railways, and port infrastructure. We support digital connectivity, expanding access to high-speed internet to bridge the digital divide. We support education and skills in Africa, enhancing human capital through vocational training, digital education, and knowledge exchange. And we support health infrastructure, strengthening health systems to make societies more resilient.
And still on business, analysts say Zimbabwe's housing and agriculture sectors are set to attract major foreign direct investment. Speaking on ZTN Prime's The Mint, Business Weekly analyst Tapio Mangwiro highlighted agriculture as a key driver, with several crops playing a vital role in economic recovery.
I would pick housing and agriculture because in terms of agriculture, you're just coming where people already are. There are farmers already that are doing this horticulture, be it horticulture, be it grains, be it what. There are farmers who are already doing that. So if you see potential in the farmers and they have a case return, then it means that you have made a very good investment. So I think agriculture is one point that I say it's a high industry.
Mangwiro also pointed to the housing sector, where a growing backlog presents investment opportunities in finance, construction and infrastructure.
We already have people with land. What they do not have is capital to develop that land. So if they can find an investor that's coming to invest in the housing market, and these are guaranteed returns. If you look at the Zimbabwean market and landscape, we have seen this. We have seen so many. Even banks are now starting. They have also got into that same market of housing because they've seen enough returns being made by property developers.
Now in news just received, Vice President Dr. Constantino Chiwenga has arrived in Rome, Italy, joining hundreds of world leaders for the burial of Pope Francis. Pope Francis succumbed to a stroke and irreversible cardiovascular collapse on Easter Monday and will be laid to rest at the Basilica of St. Mary Major in Rome, Italy. His passing on plunged the faith world, particularly over 1.3 billion Catholics across the world. President Mnangagwa led pledges for the departed leader of the church, whose Zimbabwean membership is estimated to be over 1 million, describing him as a dedicated servant of the Lord. Now continuing with our business stories. Gold production at Blanket Mine reached 18,671 ounces in the first quarter of 2025, exceeding the 17,050 ounces produced in the first quarter of 2024. In a production update, parent company Caledonia Mining Corporation said this year's first quarter production record surpassed the previous high of 18,515 ounces reached in the first quarter of 2022, setting a first quarter record at Blanket due to a strong performance in a period traditionally regarded as the weakest. Now up next, we give you our entertainment stories. The Shibukune Shamwari Traditional Dance Festival is preparing to return to the 2025 edition, reigniting the nation's passion for traditional dance and cultural celebration. Running from May the 10th to July the 19th, 2025, the festival promises a vibrant showcase of Zimbabwe's rich heritage. The event will be held under the theme Ngomangairire Shamwari Chaisku Bumgane, a call to unite through the beat of the drum and the rhythm of tradition. A hallmark of Zimbabwe's cultural calendar for over 60 years, the Shibukune Shamwari Festival continues to celebrate and preserve traditional dance while bringing communities together. Now moving on to intellectual property rights. In a bid to promote local artists' welfare, the National Arts Council of Zimbabwe has signed a memorandum of understanding with D&M attorneys. The partnership seeks to safeguard the intellectual property rights of artists and ensure that their creativity is not only celebrated, but also legally protected and monetized. D&M attorneys said through legal support, policy and legislative interventions, the intellectual property rights are private rights, and they want to educate the artists on what the law can do for them so that they can take ownership of the agenda for law reform to enhance the protection of their rights. Well, like they say, thank God it's Friday. Time to wind down. Here are some of the major entertainment events on the calendar for the weekend.
This weekend will be big for Dendera musician Solomani Shembetu, who is launching his 8th album, Sapo. Although he has cancelled the first leg of the launch, which was scheduled for Harare's Hall tonight, Sulu has assured his fans that the second leg at Tipirukawa Hotel in Chekutu this Saturday is still on. Sungura music giant Alec Macheso will stage his first show in the country after the United Kingdom tour at Warren Park Bar in Warren Park 1 tonight. He will share the stage with the self-proclaimed Sungura Prince Peter Moore. Tomorrow, Macheso will be in Mutare, sharing the stage with Andy Murito and male dancer Apama. It will complete the weekend at Mutanga's hideout in Rua, also with Andy Murito and Apama. Sunday is a big one for the ladies in Midlands, as the Duke and Slay edition will land at Gweri Sports Club. Just like the recent Harare edition, the Gweri edition will also be a vintage theme. Freeman and Master H will entertain the ladies. The city of Kings in Bulawayo is set to come alive with the biggest show of the weekend as the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair ZITF shutdown show takes center stage. The highly anticipated event will feature a star-studded lineup headlined by Winky D alongside South African artists Uncle Waffles, MT, DJ Tira and Nasty C. Adding to the excitement are local talents Enzo Ashau, DJ Tamuka and Oriano, all set to perform at the ZITF main arena.
Herentals edge green fuel. That story right ahead in sports.
In a world where music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people, comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized and yearning for more. Welcome to the captivating world of Z Vibes. Vibe to it, baby.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
In the first Premier League game for match day 8, Tino Benza's goal against Green Fuel today at Rufaro gave Herentals 4 points, moving the students to 9 points. We give you the highlights.
Best placed Harare team from last season. Benza! Probing persistency has finally paid off for Herentals, and it's none other than Tino Benza. Well, he's been sniffing around a lot in that area, and finally he's found a gazelle.
We didn't speak about that critical phase, those last 5 minutes or so before the halftime break. 39 minutes to tend up Benza, like you said, have been probing and prodding and duly rewarded. Only the 5th goal the students have scored so far this season, and he enjoyed that. He's celebrating, and it will be a crucial goal. Let's take a look at that situation once again. Just bullish and powerful, just to get past the defender, and then just driving himself there.
Now, while some PSL clubs are pressing the panic button after poor starts to the season, the same cannot be said of FC Platinum. Coach Norman Mapeza has been frank to say, talking over the years of experience, of course, that there is a good understanding between the team, the club and the fans, with just 9 points collected in the first 7 games of the season. The former champions are mid-table and 8 points behind log leaders Moors. And ahead of their clash with Triangle at Mandava on Saturday, Mapeza says everything will eventually fall into place and the fans understand that.
We've been through this journey before, and what is very important now is for us to be united. I think they showed us again last weekend in Harare that they're with us. They showed it that they're with us. It's not the first time. They've been doing it before. I've been here now for more than 10 years. You know, and I think now there is a rapport, there is a good understanding between myself, the team, and the supporters. There is an understanding. They know exactly what we'll be doing, they know exactly what we're trying to do, they know exactly that the guys will be working so hard for us to get the desired results. But sometimes it's football. It doesn't happen like that. But our fans, fantastic.
Now, at 3 goals scored in 7 games, this is one of FC Platinum's worst scoring rate in those number of games since they started playing in the Premiership in 2011. And 2 goals conceded in the same number of matches makes this one of their finest defence records in the Premiership. Mapeza says they have been working on making sure they convert their chances.
You know, I would rather concentrate much on the positives in terms of or the department on the pitch, because I cannot only concentrate much on the guys who are playing up front. It's all about the whole group. It's all about the whole group. What are we doing when we have got the ball? What are we doing when we don't have the ball? We have got defenders, of course. If you've got corner kicks, free kicks, we want them to push forward and maybe give us something in terms of scoring goals. So we cannot put much burden on the strikers only, or maybe the forwards only. It's a collective effort. It's a collective effort.
Action in the Castle Lager Premiership continues on Saturday, with Tel 1 set to face Giants Highlanders at Ascot, Bikita Minerals host Ngezi Platinum at Gibbo Stadium, Miracle Boys Yada are home to Troubles Caps United at Rufaro, ZPC Kariba host Ambitious Scotland at Nyamunga, while Simbabora are in a top-of-the-table clash with log leaders Moors at Wadzanai. Manika Diamonds face Chicken Inn at Sakuva, while on Sunday, Giants Dynamos will be hoping for a good outing against Minnows Kwekwe United. In the Premier League on Saturday, Chelsea host Everton, Brighton are home to West Ham, Newcastle face Ipswich Town, relegated Southampton face Fulham, while Marshall Munetzi's Wolves host Leicester. Those are the Premier League fixtures. We now take a look at what's happening on the rugby pitch. Zimbabwe and Kenya meet again, not just to close out the 2025 Bats Trophy, but to reignite a feud that has come to define junior rugby on the continent. The battle is on Saturday in Harare. Now, for over a year now, Kenya has occupied prime real estate in the minds of Sean D'Souza and his Zimbabwe under-20 squad. That fateful loss in 2024 on home soil, no less, still hangs heavy in the corridors of the Junior Sables camp. Tinashe Kusema will give the full preview in tomorrow's edition of The Herald. And that's a wrap on News Plus this evening. Thank you very much for watching and joining us this Friday evening. We do hope you have a great weekend. I'm Wadzanai Sansole.